What's up guys, Chris here. I'm going to be showing you today how to do the Nightcrawler effect, the teleportation effect from my Superpowers episode 2. And let's take a quick look at it. Alright, hang on. There we go. So yeah, there it is. Pretty simple. It's a real simple effect. Anyone can do this. I'm doing this in After Effects CS5, but you can do it in any of the previous versions, and you could probably get away with doing this, honestly, even in like Final Cut Pro, maybe Premiere, really any kind of compositing system as well. And so basically just a quick masking, and then we have this cool poof of black smoke, kind of like the Nightcrawler. So let's get into this. I'm going to grab the footage and drag this into a new composition right down here. And what we're going to do is we're going to look for a clean plate because we don't want this lady in our footage. And basically the reason why a clean plate is so important is because when you're doing effects, any kind of effects, but specifically effects with a lot of masking, you're going to be creating these huge gaping holes with your masks that need to be filled in, and having a clean plate will allow you to seamlessly fill in those holes, and no one will be the wiser, hopefully. So always good to get a clean plate while you're filming. So I have one right here. This looks good to me. Nothing really moving in the background. A little bit of the flag movement, but not a big deal. Just a little bit of advice. If you, I'll get rid of this. If you're filming outside, you're going to want to make sure it's not a windy day, because a lot of times the trees will be moving, and that'll create a lot of problems with masking. And you're also going to want to watch out for the sun's shadows, because if you take too long to set up your next shot or whatever, the sun's shadows could move, and that could really mess up your clean plate. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command D. Duplicate that, and then I'm going to label this this one down here clean plate. So there we go. So that way we're keeping everything organized. And then I'm going to scroll through here and find myself where I want to teleport in. So this will differ like wherever you feel comfortable with what teleporting in. I like right about maybe there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the pen tool, and you can for a hotkey you can hit G. And I'm just going to draw a real rough mask, and you're going to want to get the shadow in there, because if you don't, it will definitely lessen the realism of the effect. And if you notice over here in the left hand corner, we have a reflection, which is always good to be mindful of these details, because if we don't put that back in, it could be a problem. So we will fix that as soon as we're done with the effect. Okay. So there's our mask. Doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to get close enough, because we're going to be doing some mask expansion and some feathering, which will fix up any inconsistencies. So I'm going to hit M, and that'll bring up the mask path. And I'm just going to hit the stopwatch, and then I'm going to go 4 or 5 frames. It's really your preference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll go 5. And then you're just going to want a keyframe. You know, make sure everything seems to be okay here. Tighten it up a little bit. That looks good. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, cool. So that looks okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit MM, and we're going to bring up the mask expansion right here. Click the stopwatch, and then I'm going to take this down negative until we disappear. So for me, that's about 140. I'm going to take it up to 150. It's always good to go a little further, because sometimes there will be little bits and pieces that you might miss. You might not be able to see them until you export it, and then that's a problem, because you have to redo all the masking. So then we're going to go to our last keyframe for the mask path, and we are going to, for the mask expansion, we're going to bring this all the way up to 0. And in fact, we're probably going to go a little bit farther than that, maybe 10. Just to fix any of the problems maybe the mask may have had. So if we scroll through here real quickly, you can see, voila, we're there we are. Now this looks kind of ugly, all these harsh lines. So what we can do to fix that is we can feather this out a little bit, and usually around 30 looks about good. And really it's gonna depend on how far away your subject is. with how good that's going to look. But that looks okay to me, and you know, whatever your preference is. Alright, so that looks pretty good. So the next thing we need to do is let's get that reflection back in. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit Command D on this footage, press M, click on the mask, and we're just going to delete it. Then what we're going to do is we are going to get the pen tool again. You can hit G or go up in the left hand corner, and we're just going to do a quick little mask here of our reflection. That seems to be okay. Go back to the beginning. Then we're going to hit MM, same principle. Oops. And we're going to click stopwatch, and we're going to bring this to a negative, which would be 127. Looks good. Okay, and then we're going to bring it to where our teleporter reappears. Bring this into about 0, 2. Oh, that's fine. Okay, so as you can see, these appear at the same time. And I'm just going to feather this one as well. This one doesn't need to be as much, maybe 20. And yeah, that looks okay. So no one's really going to be looking in the left-hand side. So if it's not perfect, that's fine. This is more just to help sell the effect. So if someone is looking, or you know, there are people who will look for any mistake you could possibly make. So let's just avoid making any. Okay, that looks pretty good. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create that smoke effect, which I used. There's Action Essentials, which is from Video Copilot, which I'll put their link in the description box below. They have really cool. The Action Essentials is it's a bunch of stock footage like explosions and fire and smoke and all kinds of different things. And what I did was I took the wisp, which is this effect, which I'm going to drag into a new composition. And as you can see here, I'll just create a solid so we can take a look at it. So there it is. That wisp. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this wisp, and you could probably do this honestly with any kind of smoke or there's plenty of places where you can pick up stock footage. And you can even if you just got a picture of smoke, you could actually probably use turbulent displacement or even liquefy, the liquefy tool, and you can actually create your own movement, which would work. So, but this is pretty easy, and Action Essentials I believe is only a couple $100 if my memory serves. So it's pretty handy. Plenty of really cool stock footage for explosions and whatnot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate, or actually I'm going to tint this real quick. And so I'm going to go effect, color correction, and we're going to hit tint. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this down to black. So what I'm going to need to do is change the solid settings just so we can keep looking at it. Actually, I can just delete the solid. We don't need that. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, fancy, cool little wisp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this in the middle, and I'm going to duplicate this a bunch of times. Gets darker. Okay, so then I'm going to hit the rotate tool, which is W, or you can go up here, and this is the rotate tool as well. So I'm just going to rotate them, and rotate one right there. Maybe rotate one going out this way. You know, whatever looks good to you. Let's see. Try one maybe like that, and then let's get one, this guy, like that. Okay, so what this is going to look like, something like that. And if we want to create a little bit of some variance, we can drag one a little bit further, maybe this one a little bit this way. This will kind of just mix it up a little bit. So something like that. And we can create a couple more, and maybe just put that one right there, put this one maybe like right in here. So yeah, that looks kind of cool. You can play with this more. I'm just kind of giving you a quick example. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go to project, and we're going to go back to our footage here. which we have this, and I'm going to get that layer, which was, I think, this one. Yeah, we're just going to drop this in right here. So yeah, there it is, and we are going to find right where I appear, so probably right here, and I'm just going to put this over, and you can change the size. So I'm going to increase the scale, maybe not that much, maybe like that, and yeah, something like that. And so you can see it kind of starts. I just want the disperse, so I'm going to actually maybe start it right here. So what you can do to trim the composition is, or the layer, hit Option L bracket, and that'll cut it in right there. So I'm going to do like that. See, this doesn't look quite as good as when I did it for the episode, but that's because I spent more time on the cloud look, which you can as well. So we have that, and you can even duplicate it and kind of rotate it around. So maybe even, maybe even switch up where the area is, and this will give it a even, yeah, something like that. You can drag it maybe a little bit closer over here, and this smoke will also kind of it will kind of act as a concealment for any kind of discrepancies in your masking or whatnot, which we don't seem to have any, but it's kind of cool. And if you wanted to get really crazy, you could actually even maybe put it over here and hit T and bring it down a lot, you know, just to put it in the reflection, but we're not going to get into that, so I'm going to bring it back over here. And yeah, so we can mess with the opacity. It kind of just fades out like that, and that seems to work pretty well. So let's see, is there anything else? That seems about it. I apologize, my tutorials will be longer once I get the okay from YouTube to have longer than 15-minute tutorials. That way I can get in more depth with some of these projects, but unfortunately right now I am restricted to under 15 minutes, so I can't get quite as in depth and spend as much time as I want to. But if you want to keep checking out these effects, then subscribe to this channel. This is my second channel. You'll get more tutorials and behind the scenes footage. I'll put a link from my main channel where you can check out and subscribe over there. I've got plenty of cool special effects. I'm doing effect videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then uploading a longer video on Saturdays. And if you have any ideas for future tutorials or future effects or anything, any questions you guys want to know, just put it down in the comment box, and I'd love to hear from you guys. Alright, I will see you next time.